have this back in no time and heaps more. Listen, Ricky, in this world there are winners and there are losers, huh? And we're winners.
That's very inspiring, Kim.
Yeah, it's the speech our soccer coach gave us before the match with Juventus.
Did you win?
Are you kidding?
Yes, the work of Nick Giannopoulos, one of Australia's very successful comedians and filmmakers, if you don't mind, growing up in Fitzroy and Richmond, and of course became a household name with the stage version, mate, of A Wog's Out of Work and the TV show Acropolis Now. Of course, the Wog Boy, which Darren Hinch was in, and Nick also starred in The Wannabes and Wog Boy 2, Kings of Mykonos. And he joins us now. I think we might be intruding on rehearsals at the theatre, at the Princess Theatre. Let's find out. Nick Giannopoulos, good afternoon.
G'day, mate. How are you? Good to talk to you. Yeah, we are in rehearsals. I've just stepped out for a minute.
Yeah, okay. At the actual Princess Theatre?
No, we're not, mate. We're actually in a secret location in Collingwood.
Oh, right.
Because we were very, very embarrassed because our mothers cook lunch for us and we don't want other people to see that.
Well, that's what they were doing when you were a young kid going to school.
Nothing changes, Darren. Nothing changes.
What was in that lunch when you were a little kid off to school?
Well, mate, we had the whole delicatessen in there, And here's the funny part. Here's the irony.
Yeah.
That stuff's all trendy now.
It is, isn't it?
Everything we got made fun of is now, every Australian knows how to say semi-sun-dried tomatoes and prosciutto.
Prosciutto, they do too. And
30 years ago, they thought prosciutto was your surname.
That's it. And what about Valiant cars? If you had one now, to be worth a quid or two.
Oh, I'll tell you what, I wish I'd kept that car in the Wog Boy, Darren, because it'd be worth a mint. But the problem with that car was it didn't really work. We had to actually, film being what it is, we actually used to push the car. The car, that actual value... Right? Yeah, it was a little bit of a bomb, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
That's why I actually didn't keep it.
Right. So
we had stunt guys in the back pushing it.
Well, no wonder you didn't keep it if it didn't go. But
no, it didn't go, mate.
Hasn't the Wog Boy been an absolute... it's made your life, hasn't it, really?
Oh, look, it's great, mate. It was released in 2000, very successful in its day, and people still come up on the street and quote the movie to me all the time. And, we did Wog Boy 2 a couple of years ago with Kings of Mykonos, and Vince Colosimo and myself got to go to Mykonos and that beautiful Greek island, and it was a very tough job, mate. We spent 3 months on Mykonos shooting a film. Very tough, very tough indeed. Do
you get back there much these days?
Mate, I go back to Europe every year, especially Greece. It's so exaggerated about what people have been saying about Greece. It's not as bad as what they make out on CNN and the news services. It's actually, Greece is a very resilient country, mate. It's been through a lot, and it'll continue to survive. The sun's still the same. It's still the same sun.
Sure.
That hasn't changed.
No.
And the people haven't changed. Unfortunately, they've had a bit of a hard time the last few years, but it's coming good again, and like it always has, Greece will be back to its very best very soon.
96900 693 if you'd like to say maybe you're from Greece and you'd like to say hi to Nick. That's the number to call. The thing is, we all knew a Wog Boy when we were at school. Our best mate, he was part of the Care Old Boys, and there's a group of 6 of us that still go away on a golf trip every year. We've known each other since grade 2, and his name was Filippo Broccoleri. He was Italian, but he was never able to come to footy practice or play football with us at cricket after school because he worked in the fruit shop after school.
Yeah, look, Australia's changed a lot, mate. I mean, that's the Australia of the 60s and 70s you're referring to there. And migration, as everyone knows, enriched this country and it made Australia the greatest country in the world, in my opinion. And I tell you, it's amazing. We still have better coffee and Italian food here in Melbourne than they do in Italy. Believe me, Darren, you go to Italy and Rome and you take the challenge. I guarantee you we've got better Italian food and coffee here than anywhere in Italy.
Yeah,
now, there's Italians out there going, what are you talking about, mate? But I'm telling you, mate. I'm telling you, that's what we've brought to this country. We are the richest country in terms of our multiculturalism of any other place I've been to in the world. Yeah. And we're the most fortunate people for it. Don't you think, mate?
Oh, look, the thing is, I don't care who comes here, as long as they want to come here because they want to be an Australian.
1,000,000%, my friend. And, it's amazing. You look at countries like America and the problems they have there, between all the different minority groups. God bless, we really haven't had issues of that type here in this country because it is such a wonderful place to live in, and every migrant who comes here does feel fortunate and does want to become part of this culture.
Yeah.
But here's the important part we've all got to remember, we've got to hang on to you know, in the same way the Scottish or the Irish like to hang on to their culture, obviously Greeks and Italians want to hang on to their culture, you know? And there's nothing wrong with having two cultures.
I agree. And I find myself at least once or twice a week down in Victoria Street, Richmond, having a bowl of Vietnamese soup. And I've got to know the people in the shop really well. It's a family-run business. And they're funny. I reckon the Vietnamese have got a really wicked sense of humour.
Mate, look, I did a show many years ago with a gentleman called Arn Do, you know, who's gone on to bigger and better things now. He was in one of my stage shows, Wog Story, you know, and he was just starting out. And Arn is one of the funniest guys I've worked with. And you look at him now, he's the face of the IGA commercial campaign.
He used to, yeah.
Yeah, mind you, he's the only Asian face in the ad, but that's another story, you know. But more importantly, you've now got people like Arn Do as the face of a major brand. I mean, we've come a long way in the last 10, 20 years. And look, we can still come further, you know. I still think there's room on television and Australian film for a little bit more variety and diversity, you know?
Yeah.
And it's going to come. Look, you know, it's interesting. I go to America and I tell people I'm Australian, you know, and they don't really understand that because their image of Australians in America is still Paul Hogan, you know?
Yes. Yeah. Speaking of which...
I have to explain to them Australia isn't quite like that.
Yeah. Speaking of Paul Hogan, I saw him at the Princess Theatre, where you'll be performing, last week on a night with Hogs. He's a very funny era of Australian comedy with the Paul Hogan show.
He's a great larrikin, mate. And, you know, look, you know, I used to call myself a larrikin on the stage, and I still do, you know, because being a larrikin is very Aussie, you know, and whether it was Hogs or Barry Humphries or Reg Livermore, and a lot of your listeners will remember who I'm talking about.
Oh, I love Reg Livermore.
Oh, mate, you know, with that great larrikinism, that great, you know, that rat bags they used to call them, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, that is such an essential part of the Australian humour and psyche. And whether it's a Paul Hogan or Wog Boys, you know, at the Princess Theatre, it's just great to see Aussie shows up in Australian theatres, mate. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the odd American musical here and then, but how good is it to see Paul Hogan and the Wog Boys back-to-back at the Princess Theatre? Isn't that a wonderful...
Perfect. Throwing a show by Reg Livermore, and there's the trifecta right there.
Oh, mate, make my dreams come true, I tell you. But I remember in the 70s and 80s, there were so many great Australian theatre shows, you know, and we just don't see enough of them anymore, mate. We just see these recycled American musicals, you know?
I reckon we were at similar age. You actually went and saw Reg Livermore like I did. I saw all of the shows he did. Mate. Betty Blockbuster,
mate,
Wonder Woman.
My dad's Milk Bar was in Johnson Street, Fitzroy, up the road from the old Tally Theatre. Remember the old Tally Theatre?
Where I went and saw the Rocky Horror Show with Max Phipps as Frankenfurter.
Yeah. I feel like I'm doing Bruce Mansfield's show now. We trip down memory lane.
Remember when?
You could just replay this on Bruce's show, Bruce and Philip's show. But mate, the old Tally Theatre, and I used to sneak in there as a young kid. You know, I'm 50 years old now, right?
Yeah.
So you know. Yeah, thank you. I know I don't look it. Thank you, I appreciate it.
No, you've still got a full head of hair, too.
No, well, that, mate, very important. But I used to sneak into the Tally Theatre, and, you know, as a kid, and I've got to tell you, mate, watching him doing initially the Rocky Horror Show and then his own shows, Betty Blockbuster, and all those other wonderful shows, it's such a huge inspiration to me. Barry Humphries, you know, all these wonderful, you know, it's just, and people say, well, why are you bringing the show back? I said, because it's important. It's important that we don't lose our sense of history. We don't, you know, it's important that I'm here creating shows for Aussies, with Aussies, you know, employing Aussies, you know?
That's exactly right. I'm with you, 100%. And we've
got to keep hearing our accent, mate. The kids of today are going to forget the Australian accent.
That's right, they will too. Speaking of accents and fellow colleagues, Vince Colosimo is with you as well, is he?
Mate, he is here somewhere. He's having his lunch. He's tucking into a big focaccia roll. You want to have a quick chat to him, do you?
Oh, is that all right? If he hasn't got a mouthful.
Oh, mate, yeah, I'm sure it's all right. He's been a busy boy. He's just, as you know, just shot Fat Tony. And we've also got Holly Williams in the show, who's playing Roberta Williams in the show.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Holly Andrew, sorry, I got the name wrong. Sorry, Holly. Holly Andrew, my apologies. Here he is, Vincenzo.
Hey, Vincenzo.
It's the Darren James of Vincenzo.
Hey, come on. Hey.
Here you go, mate. Here's Vince.
Oh, thanks, Vince. Thanks, Nick. Hi, Vince.
Hey, mate, how are you?
Yeah, good. How's the focaccia?
No, it was actually quite nice, yeah.
Oh, good, yeah.
Starving, to tell you the truth.
Sorry.
He works us pretty hard, Nico. He works us very hard.
How long do rehearsals go for?
Oh, what, like, for days, you mean?
Yeah.
Or, we're going to do we've been doing it for a couple of weeks now, getting into the rhythm and so forth. Next week we'll obviously have Christmas off. I think he gives us Christmas off. And then we're back early in the year to do all the technical runs and get up on the Princess Theatre and, hopefully get a good show together.
Fantastic. And, of course, we're looking forward to seeing you on the tally on Fat Tony.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's only another little series of Underbelly, which should be great, actually. Robert Mamone, who plays Tony Mockbell in this one, he was great in it, and I get to play my character in and bring him back to life.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, that's good fun.
That'll be good. And do you enjoy doing the comedy parts of acting as well? Because this will be, no doubt, a very funny show.
Oh, no, this will be a fantastic show. Trust me. We're all probably a little bit better at it now. A little bit older, but we're even better at it, I think, now. You know, I think there's nothing quite like the experience of actors that have done it before and have treaded the boards and now have gone to other mediums like television and film and then come back to basically the roots of where we all started and they're working with Nick and Alex again on stage. It's not only hilarious, it's a great experience as well.
Exactly. Now, the other thing with it, I was talking to Nick about early performers that used to inspire him. We mentioned names like Reg Livermore and Barry Humphries. Did you have anyone you looked up to when you were growing up, like a hero actor that you wanted to be or emulate?
Look, I'm an Italian boy from North Carlton, so the Carlton Football Club are all my heroes, and all the boys down there. And also, when I started watching films with people like De Niro and Al Pacino, and that I'd watch all the time, Marlon Brando, and I started getting to all those actors, and and I couldn't look back. It's one after the other, and I'm still watching them today. There's not enough time to watch all the stuff these guys have done, and they were really inspiring, and became more ambitious watching people like that. And, and as far as the theatre is concerned, I remember seeing one of the first shows I ever saw at the age of about 14 was Mel Gibson on stage in Sydney.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it was great. And I remember thinking, it's one thing I'd love to do one day, and that's where I am today.
With Nick on the Wog Boys at the Princess Theatre. I'll let you get back to lunch, but you'll be live on stage from January the 8th. For tickets, you can go to Ticketmaster. We'll let you finish.
Yeah, wogboy.com. Go to that.
Oh,
wogboys.com. Yes, and Ticketmaster, yes.
And check it out. Good luck with the rehearsals, and we'll see you at the theatre.
Well, I hope so, Darren. I hope to see you there, mate.
I'll certainly check it out. Don't worry about that. Good on you, Vince.
Yeah, bring all your Wog friends, mate.
Bring all your Wog friends, all right. On that note, we'll say farewell and see you later, mate. Vince Colosimo, mate, and Nick Giannopoulos and Wog Boys at the Princess Theatre.